Good morning. Saturday, June 27th. Welcome to Inside the Numbers. We have nobody in the chat here, so there's nobody for me to talk to right now. I am on both YouTube and Rumble right now. We're going to go over some of the line moves for Major League Baseball, along with the college Canadian Football League game tonight. We're going to well, that's about it today. Just there's one game in Canadian Football League. We hit our game last night with the Argonauts plus 3.5. That game was really never in doubt. I mean, they tried to get close. The Rough Riders tried to get close to that game, and that game actually looked like it was going to go under the total based on the performance of the first half. And then the game wound up soaring over the total. I mean, went way over like 70 something points last night. Crazy. We didn't do so good last night in Major League Baseball. We had a goose egg, and I apologize out there that's following my free picks. We have been in a slump on free picks. Things aren't going the right way. Things didn't go the right way last night for me in Major League Baseball, so I'm looking to bounce back today. So I apologize to those who all follow me. It was just was a horrible night. Besides hitting the Canadian Football League game. All right, let's go over some of the early games here in Major League Baseball. First game up, it starts at 1:10 Eastern. New York Yankees at the Boston Red Sox. So the Red Sox are going to win 3 in a row. This is a tough one. You got the ace going today for well, I guess he's ace or number 2. Garrett Cole's going for the Yankees tonight. Yankees opened up at minus 126. They are down to minus 123. 72% of the tickets, 53% of the money likes the Yankees. We do have a slight 19% sharp action liking the Red Sox. Hey, welcome TV Sassy Pants on my YouTube channel. What's interesting is I can't check my chat. Well, here we go. Now I can get in on the chat on the Rumble side. Okay, yeah, there's nobody over here on Rumble. We got three lurkers over there. So you guys are welcome to chime in the chat, see what you like today. I should have went over the Canadian Football League game, but I don't have all the numbers. That I'll see if I got them here at the end because some of the numbers aren't being shown yet on that game. What's up, C. Right? Over on the Rumble side. All right, next game. This game also starts at 1:10 Eastern. Astros and Tigers. That game sure looked like it was going to go over the total last night. The Tigers put up 8 runs, never scored again, and it stayed under the total. Crazy how that happens. Let's see. The Tigers opened up at minus 131. They are jumped up to minus 141. 66% of the tickets, 48% sharp action is on the Tigers. We do have an 18% sharp action on the Astros. The total, 8.5. It is 44% of the tickets, 75% of the money, 31% sharp actions on the over. It's been a while since I believe since the Tigers have been on their home series here, not one single game has went over the total. They've all went under. In fact, there was one game the other night that I had the over on. I think it was around 9.5. There was only like 3 runs scored in that game. Just go figure. On the run line here, though, Detroit minus 1.5 has got 62% of the tickets, 98% of the money, and 36% sharp action. Yeah, I hope Steve right. Last night was brutal in baseball. The only thing that saved me last night was that Canadian Football League game. Next game. This one starts at 3 Eastern. Texas Rangers at the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays opened up at minus 163. They're now up to minus 193. 83% of the bets, 77% of the money likes the Blue Jays today. Run line at minus 1.5 for the Blue Jays, 68% of the tickets, 86% of the money, 18% sharp action is on the run line. Total opened up at 7.5. It is up to 8. Here's something that's interesting. They raised this total, but yet 29% of the tickets, 55% of the money, 26% sharp action likes the under. Yeah, I'm going to do a deeper dive. In fact, I'll just let this out right now. I do not have a free pick in this video. I will probably make a little standalone video when it gets closer to game time so I can give a pick because I'll say right now, I haven't 100% went through all these numbers yet. So, we still got time. We got an hour and a half before the first pitch is thrown on these 2 early games. So, I will take another look here and, give a little standalone video on my free pick for today. Next game here starts at 4 Eastern. Cincinnati Reds at the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Reds open up at -115. They're up to -118. 67% of the tickets, 80% of the money, 13% sharp action. Run line is at the Reds -1.5. 48% of the tickets, 98% of the money, 50% sharp action. Total sits at 8. 74% of the tickets, 72% of the money likes the over. We do have a slight 2% sharp action on the under. I'll tell you right now, there were 2 games I was looking at last night, and I thought these games are going to go over the total. And one of them I played under, and I wound up going over. The Reds and Pirates last night, I had a feeling that game was going to go over the total. I stayed away from it, and lo and behold, that game soared over the total. The same thing with the Brewers and Cubs. That game looked like a surefire under until late in the game. The Brewers put up a ton of runs, and then the Cubs matched with another run and went over the total by a run by 1 run. I think the final was 5-3. What's up, Dog Spa on the Rumble side? This game also starts at 4:10 Eastern. The Kansas City Royals at the Chicago White Sox. Boy, did the White Sox put a beat down, absolute beat down on the Royals last night. I believe they scored 22 runs. Absolute beat down. The White Sox opened up at -143. They dropped down to 131. 78% of the tickets, 17% of the money likes the White Sox. Check this out on the other side on the Royals. 22% of the bets, 83% of the money, 61% sharp action likes the Royals. Now, these numbers can change. It is real early right now. We got 5 hours before this game starts. So, this is something to come back and look at because these are just early numbers. They also like the Royals on the run line at +1.5. 38% of the tickets, 78% of the money, 40% sharp action likes that +1.5. Total sits at 8. 28% of the tickets, 55% of the money, 27% sharp action under 8 runs. This is one of those things where sometimes when the teams score a whole bunch of runs, the next night that the game under the total. So something to look at here. Like again, this is about 5 hours before this game starts. Another game that starts at 4:10 Eastern. Philadelphia Phillies at the New York Mets. Obviously, the new manager didn't help the Mets last night, although they did only lose by 1 run. So if you had the Mets +1.5, congratulations. I didn't play this game at all. I should have though. The whole new manager theory. Phillies open up this is interesting here. Okay, the Mets open up at -143. They're down to -132. But only 39% of the tickets and 3% of the money likes the Mets today. It is a big drop, and I think the line's dropping because all the money's on the Phillies. With 61% of the tickets, 97% of the money, 36% sharp action likes the dog in the spot. I'm gonna look at this game later too, because based on some of that, I gotta see if there's gonna be more money that comes in on the Mets. But right now, this looks like a Mets spot here. Like I said, the line's dropping not because of what's Mets. It's the line's dropping because all the money's coming in on the Phillies. Mets are -1.5. And here's something. Here's one of those situations where they like the Mets at -1.5. Yet they like the Phillies on the money line. Mets 17% of the bets, 45% of the money, and 28% sharp action likes the -1.5. Total opened up at 8.5. It's at 9 right now. 69% of the tickets, 90% of the money, 21% sharp action likes the over. Again, these are games I'm going to look at a little bit later. It's just too early right now. The Arizona Diamondbacks, this game starts at 6:10 Eastern. Arizona Diamondbacks and the Tampa Bay Rays. I know I said yesterday I like the Diamondbacks. I really liked it. What's crazy about this game, if you looked at the final score, you would think differently because the Arizona Diamondbacks out hit the Tampa Bay Rays last night, but yet they could only muster up 1 run. I think they had like 7 or 8 hits last night, but what killed the Diamondbacks last night was the long ball. They gave up a 3-run home run in the bottom of the first, and I think they gave up another 2-run shot later in the innings. This game was crazy. I had the Diamondbacks last night, and I swore on the Diamondbacks last night, and it just didn't pan out. But back at it today. We forget about yesterday, and we move on to today. The Rays opened up at -167 down to -144. 82% of the tickets, 21% of the money likes the Rays. We have significant money on the Diamondbacks side. 18% of the bets, 79% of the money, 61% sharp action likes the Arizona Diamondbacks. This today might be a Diamondback spot. I'm going to take a look at this game a little later. The run line -1.5. Now here they are. All the run line bets are on that Diamondback at +1.5 with 64% of the tickets, 98% of the money, 34% sharp action likes that +1.5. Total at 8 up to 8.5. 39% of the tickets, 89% of the money, 50% sharp action likes the Diamondback or likes the over. 7 o'clock Eastern tonight. We have the Washington Nationals at the Baltimore Orioles. I called this game yesterday on the show. I said the Nationals and the Orioles would go under the total, and it did. So we'll check this out again today. Orioles opened up at -120 to -117. What's up, Grass Guy on the Rumble side? 58% of the tickets, 35% of the money liked the Orioles. We have 23% sharp action on the Nationals, and this line went through 0. The Nationals open up at +100. They're now -103. This might be a national spot. The run line side at +1.5, we have 44% of the bets, 86% of the money, 42% sharp action likes the Orioles today at +1.5. Total sits at 9. 35% of the bets, 73% of the money, 38% sharp action likes the over. I'll have to check in. Like I said, I got to check into some of these numbers a little bit later because it's still early. Cubs at Brewers, I have no run line on this game. I only have the money line. But Brewers are at 163. They still sit at 163. 88% of the tickets, 99% of the money, 11% sharp action likes the Brewers. Total sits at 8. 57% of the tickets, 70% of the money, 13% sharp action likes the over. Again, I'm going to keep repeating. I have no opinion on these later games because it's still early. I have to come back and look at them. I only have opinion on 2 early games. Next game at 7:10. Colorado Rockies at the Minnesota Twins. I actually didn't have a play on this game, but I did jump in late on this game to go total it. Yeah. So that's one good sign out of my lousy day. Minnesota Twins open up at -143. They're up to -144. 83% of the tickets, 73% of the money sits on the Twins. We have a slight 10% sharp action on the Rockies. Run line at -1.5, and it's at 40% of the tickets, 72% of the money, 32% sharp likes the Twins at -1.5. Total sits at 9, went up to 9.5. 64% of the tickets, 91% of the money, 20% sharp action likes the over. There's another game where I had the over last night was the Mariners and the Indians. Like I said, man, I was told I zigged it like Cricket says, I zigged it where I should have zagged. Every under went over and the overs went under. Crazy night. I'm just like I said, I'm thankful for that Canadian football game that I hit that one. Mariners opened up at -149. They still sit at -149. 83% of the tickets, 87% of the money, 4% sharp action likes the Mariners. They also like the Mariners at -1.5. 39% of the bets, 90% of the money, 51% sharp action at -1.5. I might lean the Indians in this spot just based on their 17% of the tickets and 13% of the money likes the Indians. I may lean the Indians tonight. Here again, we have a total drop. Total opened up at 8, dropped to 7.5. Tickets are split at 50%, but there's 67% of the money and 17% sharp action likes the over. I like the under. 7:15 Eastern. Marlins at Cardinals. I jumped on this one on live betting last night with the Marlins, and they won 2-0. So some of these live bets that I've been jumping in on um, have been working. One last night didn't work, man, and I swear this one was going to hit. I had the Athletics. I jumped in late to have the Athletics and the Angels go over 12.5 runs. The Angels wound up loading the bases with no outs, and they couldn't get a run in. I just needed one run only, and they couldn't get a run across the plate. Lost that bet at 12 runs by a half, and that really sucked because that game should have won over. So screw the Angels for not getting a run across the plate with bases loaded and no outs. That's like one of the worst things you could do. Have bases loaded with no outs, and run across the plate. Anyway, enough griping. Um, The Cardinals opened up at -143. They still set at -143. 71% of the tickets, 72% of the money, 1% sharp action likes the Cardinals. No opinion on the side on that game. At the -1.5 for the Cardinals, 48% of the tickets, 98% of the money, 50% sharp action likes the -1.5. Total sits at 8.5, no move. Tickets are split at 50%, but we have 83%, 33% sharp action likes the over. This was a nice game last night, and this game wound up going over at the last minute too. The Dodgers and the Padres. This game was under all the way until the end, and then went over the total. I have no total on. Now, let me do a refresh here because I don't have a total on this game. Let me get down here. Okay, now I have a total. Okay, Dodgers opened up at -198. They're up to -205. 94% of the tickets, 95% of the money, 1% sharp action likes the Dodgers here. The -1.5 for the Dodgers, 81% of the tickets, 92% of the money, 11% sharp action likes the Dodgers. I'm going to do a quick pitch. I'm curious because I didn't look who's pitching for the Dodgers tonight. Oh, that's why Yamamoto's pitching tonight. The race. That's why the line's so high. Total sits at 8. 56% of the tickets, 98% of the money, 42% sharp action likes the over. And right now, the over, it's actually juiced to the under in this game. This might be an under spot with Yamamoto pitching in a pitcher friendly park. So, yeah, this is an under spot. I don't think the Padres are going to take one from the Dodgers in this spot just because of Yamamoto. Next game here starts at 9 Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Braves and the San Francisco Giants. I think the Braves got off the schneid last night and they beat the Giants. The Giants opened up at -136. They're down to -131 with 46% of the tickets and only 13% of the money likes the Giants. They like the Braves as a dog at 54% of the tickets, 87% of the money, 33% sharp action likes the Braves. And here's one of those situations where the Giants on the run line at -1.5, 18% of the tickets, 60% of the money, 42% sharp action likes the Giants -1.5. Okay, again, we got almost like 10 hours before this game starts. Actually, almost 12 hours before this game starts. So no, for me it's 9 hours. I'm sorry, about 9 hours before this game starts. So there's a lot that can change. The last game on the card tonight at 9:30 Eastern. Athletics and Angels. The Angels let me down last night because I did pick the Angels on the side last night, and they got blown out, literally blown out by the A's. So, like I said, terrible night last night. Although The Angels open up at minus 111, up to minus 114, 48% of the tickets, 81% of the money, 33% sharp action likes the Angels. Now, here's something weird here because they have the Athletics at minus 1.5 with 25% of the tickets, 57% of the money, 32% sharp action. Like the Athletics at minus 1.5. There's something. I'm gonna double check that right now. Make sure that one line is still at. Yeah, it sure the hell is. They're at minus 1.5 for some reason. Um, yeah, interesting because the Angels are favored. I'm going through some of the books right now. The Angels are favored, but yet the Athletics are at minus 1.5. Something to look for, something to change because that's got to flip because that doesn't make sense. Totals at 8.5. 46% of the tickets, 54% of the money, 8% sharp action likes the under. All right, that's your full rundown for Major League Baseball. I'm going to go back and see if I've that football game listed because it wasn't listed a little bit ago. I mean, I already know the numbers on the game. Yeah, the game's still not listed. They'll have it listed probably later. I almost live wagered that total last night, that Canadian Football League game, because the live wagering was at 62.5 points in the game. And like I said, they scored over 70 last night. Crazy. All right, let me give you some numbers on this game right now. This is going to be per Pinnacle. The Calgary Stampeders are at minus 1 plus 104. And the British Columbia Lions are at plus 1 minus 119. On the money line, Calgary is at minus 106. British Columbia Lions are at minus 108. What's that tell you? The money line is higher for the dog than with the plus 1. The British, based on these numbers right now, the Lions are going to win this game outright. The total sits at 57, and it's in minus 111 to the over, minus 105 to the under, something also to keep track of because this game could go over. It seems like majority of all these games. I think it's 9-2 now to the or 10-2 now to the under. On Calgary's side, over 27.5 points is at minus 124. On the British Columbia side, under 29.5 at minus 112. Okay, here's something to take note. The Lions are a dog at plus 1, but their team total is higher than Calgary's. Something to think about right there. British Columbia Lions are going to win this game. And I don't think this game starts at 4 East, or I'm sorry, 9 Eastern. My math's right there. Let me double check my times here. Yeah, I think it's 9 Eastern, I believe. Let me get down here to some of my other things here. 7 Eastern. 7 Eastern, this game starts. So something to keep an eye on. I like British Columbia tonight, and I also like the over. But I'll have something on that later tonight. We got plenty of time for that game. So we'll go. Which game? Grass guy, stamp it. British Columbia. Yeah, it's really nice that we can wager on these games on Palshi now. That was a great move. Um, we do have some WNBA games. I mean, I don't know. It sucked. Anyway, I did a second half live bet last night, 2 of them, and I hit them both. So, well, one I actually cashed out because it went over. I had to go under 162.5, and it landed on 163. So about 2 minutes before the game ended, I cashed out because it was getting too close for my comfort. I cashed out with just a small profit, but the other game went it was like over 172.5, and they wound up going over 200 points in the game. So I played the second half. So something to look at if you're live betting I know I don't post these on my play because I'm only looking at it as a live bet option, especially for second half games in these WNBA games. I kind of get a feel what's going on in the first half when it comes to the points, and I look at what the overall opening total was, and then I'll come back and either play the over or the under. And it's just only for live betting purposes only. I'm not going to put my hard earned money on a full. It's only live betting purposes. So just kind of let you guys out there. All right, that's kind of a rundown of everything we got going on today. I know it's early. There's only two early games. I'm going to do a quick refresh on the two early games right now. One's they are both very suspicious. The New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, again, I'll say it's at minus 126 down to minus 123. 71% of the tickets and 54% of the money likes the Yankees. Are the Red Sox going to win three in a row against the Yankees? Is the question. You got Garrett Cole pitching. What I like about this game, I like the under. And here's why. The total opened up at 8.5. It's down to 8. 55% of the bets, 70 or tickets, 78% of the money, 23% sharp action likes the over, yet they dropped it. So something to think about there. And again, here's the other one I like too this morning is the Astros and the Tigers. I like this game over the total. The Tigers at 131 up to minus 141. 68% of the tickets, 52% of the money is on the Tigers. And the total sits at 8.5, but 48% of the tickets, 81% of the money, 33% sharp action likes the over. I do too. I like the over in this game. All right, there's your full rundown today. I know I'm kind of overlapping. I think Beardo's got a show going on, his Saturday show, so we're going to kind of end it. He usually does his show about 2 hours, so he's almost about an hour in. Thanks, Beardo, for the shout out today, and I will over on your stream. Appreciate that, and hopefully I get some followers from his stream over there. It's called Overtime with Beardo. Check it out. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and Rumble. All right, appreciate you guys in the chat over on the YouTube side. Appreciate TV Sassy Pants being over there. Over on the Rumble side, we have C Right, Dogspot, and Grass Guy. Appreciate you guys all being here today. I depending on my schedule today or tomorrow, I may jump in and try to get a live stream in after Will show's over and before Sports Wars starts. Try to get something in real quick because I do not want to overlap those shows. So appreciate you guys being here over on YouTube and Rumble. I will get a free pick video up a little bit later just because it's too early right now to look at games and base something out there and throw something out there because we have been on a losing streak on my free picks. So I need to get back on track with those. In fact, my free pick last night was, let me get back here. My free, where is it? Crap, I don't even remember what my free pick was. Oh, there it is. I said the Diamondbacks and the Rays would have went over the total, and that clearly didn't go over the total. Anyway, you guys have a great day. May all your wagers come true. Good luck tonight on what you bet, and always like Grass Guy says, always give us your thoughts. How you doing? How you winning? Are you doing good? Is the information that we're putting out here helping you guys? That's the key. Is we want to be able to be different than other shows out there by just digging in and again, it's all about the numbers, not so much how these teams perform and all that. It's all about numbers when it comes to wagering. Just like in the stock market, it's all about numbers. All right, you guys, have a great Saturday. Enjoy whatever you're doing today, and I'll try to get something going tomorrow. Anyway, good luck tonight, and I'll have a free video pick up later today. All right, you guys, we will see you. Have a great Saturday.